Hey everyone, and thank you so much for joining myself and, of course, my man, Mr. Michael Powell, as we sit down at the table and discuss creating our own runes for magical items that will appear in Edge of Legend and could also appear at your table too, if you so choose. But without further ado, let us introduce ourselves. Very first, and starting off, Mr. Michael Powell, tell them who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
I'm Michael Powell, and you can find me on my social media handle, which is Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. And what about you, PJ?
My name is PJ McGaw. You can find me everywhere at pj.mcgaw, including here, Wednesdays at 8 p.m. for our flagship Pathfinder 2nd Edition homebrew show, Edge of Legend, where I will be the GM and, of course, the fabulous Rufa. And without further ado, let's crack open our books, get our thinking hats on, and figure out some fun and new runes that we can add to Edge of Legend. Stick around.
Let's get building.
We are going to be doing the item creation, the rune creation for today. So if you have your thinking caps, tighten them on tight, because this rune could show up in Edge of Legend. And the Rune of Cuddles is a very good, strong start. But what else could we make? I saw in the chat the Rune of Unspeakable Hairiness. That makes your item very hairy. Those sound great. But I wonder if we could make something that might have a more...
Oh, I just realized something, PJ.
Mm-hmm.
Do you know what the rune system actually kind of reminds me of now, video game-wise?
What's that?
I don't know if anybody in chat knows are familiar with this game, but Shokoden from PlayStation.
Wait, I think I played that game.
Yeah, it was kind of based on Eastern mythology, and there were, instead of having like this group of like 5 or 6 people, you had 108 playable characters.
Yeah. Is it Shokoden? I've always pronounced it Suikoden. I'm probably doing it wrong.
I'm pretty sure one of us is right and one of us is wrong. But anyway, I love that game, and that's what this rune system is reminding me of.
That's right, because they had runes for certain spells that you could use, right?
Yeah. It's I think it's like the runes are based off. Some of them are like elements, virtues, and like you said, spells. I'm just saying. Yeah. I'm just gonna say that's what I was like. This rune system is clicking, just clicked.
Yeah, honestly, I think there's some truthful carryover there. I watched my friends play Suikoden 1, 2, and I think 3 growing up. Because growing up, like in the 90s, it was really hard to find where all the good RPGs were. Funkoland was a thing, but Funkoland was like pulling teeth.
I mean, I remember back in the day, I spent so many hours that game because I used to be such a completist, and I made sure to level up every single 108 characters, and that took like, it took me a year to play that game.
Good God, yeah, I would imagine. Play 2 on the emulator. I should do that. Excuse me.
But anyway, I just want to say that. I just want to say that.
No, that's very valid and very fair. All right, so everyone watching right now, let's figure out some runes, because we're talking about some really cool runes from Suikoden. We're talking about the runes from the game. We can make a weapon rune, or we can make an armor rune. I have to say, if we do continue... I want to make a rune
from the game now.
We could probably do it. We could probably make it in such a way that would work with a weapon or armor.
Mm-hmm.
Right now, if I had to invent the Rune of Cuddles, I think it'd be an armor rune, and it could do something where, like, when you grapple someone, they have to make a fortitude save or
fall asleep. It's like a sleep effect.
Yeah, or they succumb to a sleep effect. I'm trying to think. I know there's a sleep condition. I want to see if I'm statting that correctly. Let's see here. Let's see. We could make it, if we decide to go with the Rune of Cuddles, we could make them paralyzed. We could make them prone as they fall asleep, like literally fall asleep. We can make them stunned.
I don't know. Sleep. I like the sleep. The Rune of Cuddles makes more sense with a sleep effect.
Yeah. Ooh, you know what else we could do with the Rune of Cuddles? If we decide to go this route and not make like a weapon rune or an armor rune, we could make it so that sleeping in your armor doesn't give any penalties to that rest. You don't have any fatigue. You don't have any other conditions. It basically means that your armor is so magically cozy that you can sleep in your armor with no negative effect, as well as, maybe putting someone to sleep when you hug them. Oh God, Adam Generator says Cuddle Rune. It
Yeah,
should be on a weapon of the brawling group.
Yeah, I like the idea. It's like a subclass of no, not a ranger, monk ability.
Let's see here. It gives the armor the comfortable trait. Thank you, Adam Generator. The comfortable trait. It puts them to sleep without taking penalties with his sleep. Trying to think now. I'm seeing a lot of really interesting things. Like the Color Rune should be on a weapon of the brawling group, so that I guess you can hug them. I think I interrupted you, Michael, and I'm so sorry. What were you saying before?
About what?
About the Cuddle Rune and the.
Oh, like I said, it reminds me. I would say definitely it grant like a sleep effect on a successful grapple check, and honestly, it just reminds me of kind of a monk move ability.
Yeah,
I know they have grapple tech, like was it Crushing Crab, or what is it? The throw ability. I think it's a feat.
Yeah, they have a feat called Sleeper Hold.
Yeah.
Chat was mentioning it. I know that they have a Sleeper Hold in first edition. It looks like they have one in second edition. You pinch crucial points of your target's nervous system, impeding its ability to function. Attempt an athletics check to grapple the creature with the following success and critical effects. Critical success, the target falls unconscious for 1 minute, though it remains standing. It doesn't drop what it holds. Success, the target is clumsy 1 until the end of its next turn. So, if we want to make the Rune of Cuddles, I think we can steal a little bit of that Monk Sleeper Hold effect. We could make it so, aside from you being able to sleep in the armor, that whenever you grapple someone, they have to make a fortitude save, and if they fail, they can fall unconscious. How do we feel about that as a chat?
I think a lot of people are saying Monk Sleeper Hold.
Yeah, I'm seeing Adam Generator mentioning the Sleeper Hold trait, and I think that's a good one. I'm seeing Penguin Witch Doctors mentioning the Angelic Armor, +1 versus evil creatures, and a +4 saving throw versus evil descriptor spells. I do remember that armor. It's a really good armor. I don't know. Let's see. Lady Alterial's mentioning the potential to have the rune heal. There is a belt of regeneration, which is extremely broken and overpowered. And I feel like if we combine that with any armor rune for healing, would it make sense? Yes. Would it break the game? Entirely. So, I don't know. I love the idea of a rune of healing. But I feel like it's such a hard thing to balance. Oh, another idea from Adam Generator. You can spend 2 actions to cast Command to have them approach you for a hug. That 100% makes the cuddle descriptor creepy, says Shreep Psyche. Okay. What do you think, Michael? What's knocking about your head?
Like I said, I'm kind of with Adam Generator on this. I like the idea of the rune of cuddling being kind of like the sleeper hold, and then maybe we can kind of combine that with a healing effect, maybe where they fall asleep, but they also gain 1d4 health.
Maybe not for the person they're cuddling.
I kind of want to say yes, actually.
Well, I don't know.
Imagine if Morel is holding the little boy. What did we name that kid again?
I believe
Joey.
Sydney.
Joey.
Yeah, Sydney named.
So
named
imagine
him Joey.
Morel wearing that, having that rune on his armor, and cuddling Joey and healing him as he falls asleep.
Oh, that's kind of sweet.
Or also kind of like there's a wrestler I'm a fan of called Jarvis Cottonbelly, and his move is he grabs someone, puts them in a kind of a little carry, and he just like rocks them to sleep, and the wrestler just falls asleep.
I've seen that. I I cannot recommend enough to people if you like wrestling but you want to see something hilarious, go check out like the Dark Horse events where like there's a dude who like literally rocks people to sleep.
Yep,
There's one
Jarvis
person
Cottonbelly.
there's one person who throws an invisible hand grenade and it blows up and everyone
Oh,
dives out of
that's
the
Chuck
ring.
Taylor.
Chuck Taylor, thank you so much.
He's on
Uh,
AEW now.
oh, does he still have the hand grenade bit?
He hasn't done it yet. He's part of
Oh,
a wrestling group with Orange Cassidy and Trent called Best Friends.
that's adorable. Which one was it, Chuck Taylor? Which one used the Force? One of them, I remember there's videos of one of those wrestlers who used the Force who would choke slam someone from a distance. Like he'd do the choke, the Force choke, and then move their arm over, and then he'd do this, and the person would just jump and basically choke slam
I know who you're
themselves.
talking about, but I'm blanking on the name. But I also want to point out there's also another wrestler I like called Danhausen, who is basically goth Pee Wee Herman.
Uh, I don't remember who it is, but someone wrestles as Michael Jackson, and they
Yeah,
do like the moon slide elbow drop, and
yeah, I think that's just like him being Michael Jackson and him doing a costume and everything.
yeah,
But a lot of these indie wrestlers, they also have Twitch channels here on Twitch.
yeah. Okay, so it looks like the chat, and I think the chat does make a very good point. Um, the Rune of Cuddles should be consensual. My original concept would be that this would be used in combat, so that maybe if you're fighting someone, you grapple them and you kind of like lull them to sleep, and it would be used to basically not incapacitate but knock unconscious a bad guy. I can see maybe that this would be better serviced if it was like an out of combat thing for a PC or an NPC. Um, so I don't know.
That's literally a move that Jarvis Cottonbelly does. So if that gets put on an armor, I want to call the armor of Cottonbelly.
The armor of Cotton Belly.
And it has like actual cotton on the stomach area.
Let's not do that for the sake of copyright.
All right.
But I like where your brain's at. But that could be a problem. Okay, well let's think about this. So chat, you let us know what. That's still a good idea. Just maybe not call it cuddling. Yeah, because it gets a little creepy, I guess, at that point. How about this?
But
So
now it says cuddle, 2 actions, and cast healing on the person you hug.
Yeah, I like that for like, ooh. Okay, so maybe we can give both. Nah, that's too powerful at that point. It's not a rune at that point. It's a whole magical item. Um. Okay, well, let's do this. So at the gate, Rune of Cuddles makes the armor comfortable, so you can sleep in the armor and not take penalties. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah.
Secondly, we want this to be usable on friendly PCs and friendly NPCs only, and it will be basically it knocks them unconscious, but it gives them extra healing, or it helps them.
I kind of want to say because I love the hugging and healing effect. If it's just that, I would definitely call this Rune of the Mother.
I don't know. I feel like if we could do Rune of the Mother, I see where your brain's at, and I like it, but I think we can go more mythical. Because when I think of Mother, I think of like Maiden, Mother, Crone kind of thing. And I feel like having like a Maiden, or a Rune of the Maiden, or Rune of the Mother, Rune of the Crone could be a very cool untapped potential. We could make it like, well, I think Rune of Cuddles has done the job. We can sleep in this just fine, and we can hold on to a friendly NPC or PC, help them go to sleep, and do some bonus healing.
Ooh, I like what Ryuseki posted. Gives the effects of a short rest by hugging the receiver.
Ooh,
I like that, actually.
Maybe. You know what? I think if we
really
limit
like that.
if we make that like once a day kind of thing, that could be very valuable.
Yeah, because a short rest, certain spellcasters could really use that. And that also creates a synergy between like a frontline like fighter with their, spellcasting partner.
Well, also in this edition, and I've had to look over this because I want to make sure I was getting it right myself. In Pathfinder Second Edition, short rests don't help casters get spells back. That is something another game edition has done. But short rests, I think, do kind of allow a small amount of health recovery, not a lot, if I'm remembering correctly. However, sleeping in general is where, like a long rest, is where you're going to get a lot of your massive health recovery and spells back. Now, when you are doing a long rest and you're getting health back, you get a static amount, which I believe, which I believe is either, I have to double check because my brain is farting right now. It's either double your con or level plus con, or it's something. There's a factor. It's a static number. I think it'd be very cool if what this armor did was when you took a long rest, it increased the amount of recovery HP that you get. Because there's a feat that does it too called fast recovery, which gives you more HP back on a a sleep.
Yeah.
Well, on a long rest.
Oh, on a long rest.
Because short rests aren't really the same thing, and they are in Fifth Ed. They're a very different thing in Pathfinder Second. So anyway, let's.
Penguin Witch Doctor makes a point. Short rest regains spell focus points.
Yes,
very useful.
That is true. That is very true. I think also you can just take an action to refocus for 10 minutes to get a point back. But yeah, I can see within that hour of a short rest, you would get all up to 3 focus points back.
Like I could definitely see. That'd be actually pretty cool. The person with the armor in combat gives a quick hug to the spellcaster or bard or whatever, and they regain spell focus points in combat. That would actually be really awesome.
But I feel like that'd have to be limited because that could get really
once per day
broken. Once per day. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, once per day you can hug someone with one action and give them. We can give them all up to 3 focus points back in combat.
Yeah, I don't think that fixes it. I think.
Yeah. Do you want to call it the Rune of Cuddles, or you want to call it the Rune of Soft Hugs? Because it's such a short.
I like the Rune of Cuddles. It just flows better.
Okay, Rune of Cuddles. Better.
Oh, Sydney posted Rune of Aftercare.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. I mean,
I'm gonna go with Cuddles.
Yeah. No, I like it. I'm just thinking I guess it's focus points, a little bit of HP, and changes your.
Levi Autorel says Rune of Restoration. I don't know. I like Cuddles because it also makes it so it's very edge of legendary.
Yeah, I like the Rune of Restoration a lot, but I think again the challenge will be balancing that out because the belt of regeneration is crazy powerful.
Yeah. Levi Autorel says, could it be called the Rune of Rest officially, and unofficially they could refer to it as Cuddles?
I do like that because I feel like the Rune of Cuddles would get someone's attention and make them laugh a lot, but they may just kind of be like, nah, I don't want to say I have the Rune of Cuddles.
I would definitely say in the flavor text, just put down also known as the Rune of Cuddles.
Cool. I'm going to put down the Rune of Rest. I think that is, I think Lady Alteriel makes a really good point. That's a stronger name, I feel. So the Rune of Rest will be etched on medium and heavy armor. Wearing armor with this rune makes it comfortable and gives no penalties to sleeping in armor. Also, once per day, one action, you hug or touch a fellow friendly PC or NPC, and you can grant
touch.
Yeah, and give them back all their focus points. I think that's pretty good.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Not too bad. Okay, for our next rune, should we go to our idea that we got on the top of the segment, making a rune based off of the video game Suikoden?
We can definitely do that. Let's see. And the alliteration is always good. Yep. Good point, Reap Psyche. Alliteration is always good.
Or do you want to do something else?
No, I'm down for the Suikoden rune, but the question is, which rune? There's a lot of them.
I actually, while we were also talking, I was looking some stuff up. Google, you are my friend.
So what do you have in mind, Mr. Michael Powell?
I have 2 choices for chat to decide on. There is the Rune of Punishment, which is, it's a huge flavor text, so I'm just going to read The first bit, the rune of punishment governs atonement and forgiveness, attaching itself to a bearer's left arm. The rune has tremendous destructive power as it comes at the cost of the bearer's own vitality. When the wielder's life force is at the end, their memories are absorbed into the rune, and the person bearing the rune turns to dust. The rune then transfers to the nearest available host. And then the next one is the Sovereign Rune, which is a true rune representing absolute rule. The Sovereign Rune has been in the Ruger family heirloom since Kernach Ruger, I'm probably pronouncing it wrong, created the Scarlet Moon Empire. Before that, the Sovereign Rune belonged to the Holy Kingdom of Harmonia and was protected within the city of Rapuna, later renamed Gregminster. The rune's power is still a mystery, but it grants bearers complete immunity to all runes, and it also allows its bearer to change into a three-headed dragon.
So we're gonna have to nerf that a
Yeah,
lot.
like maybe take out the three-headed dragon part.
Yeah, I do love the idea of a rune of, for lack of a better word, a rune of command,
Uh-huh.
a rune of like authority. Maybe we could do something like that to be put into a weapon, and this weapon basically grants bonuses to charisma-based checks like diplomacy or intimidation.
So we're going to go with Sovereign Rune over Punishment Rune.
I mean, listen, I like me a good punishment, all right? I like doling out some good punishments here and there. And we're going to make a rune of punishment. But I still have the rune of aftercare in my head, and I'm just laughing. So let's do this. Let's make the rune of sovereignty first, and then go back and make the rune of punishment.
All right. Okay, we're going through with the Rune of Sovereignty. This, I believe, I would say this would be kind of based off of kind of like a ruler's decree. Or honestly, another thing is, I could definitely see this as, oh man, but this would be broken. I was going to say, a rune basically a rune of Rufa in the court. It,
Yeah, I see. So I see, like, I feel like this is something that has to benefit like people in this big shotgun blast, right? So I think it'd be really cool if this would give bonuses to charisma-based checks like intimidation, diplomacy, and maybe even deception.
yeah.
And then, of course, as you get stronger, like lesser, greater, and major sovereignty, those benefits are bigger. But I also want something combatively as well. I'm thinking maybe like you get to, do like a command spell. You can do.
I like the idea of a command spell, but I would say have the command spell be in either the greater or major.
Yeah, well, maybe. I think the thing is that the DC will change, obviously. So like you get to cast the command spell or variation of command spell, and then when you have a higher level of that rune, it makes the DC higher as well.
Mm-hmm.
Also, later, Penguin Witch Doctor, have a good time making fun of streamers for not cleaning her mirror. I'm sure she's doing her best, but mock away. Have fun. Okay, let me look up the command spell really fast, because I know 5e has that spell.
I mean, my idea is the lesser would be the the +1 to intimidation, all that blah 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 stuff, the status, the stuff like that, and then the greater would probably be all that with a maybe once per day charm person spell, and then the major would be everything above with a once per day command spell.
Maybe. I'm thinking, oh, that's a focus spell. We're not going to do that. I feel like sovereignty, I don't know. 'Cause I'm thinking of like a leader or ruler. I don't know if they would worry about charming people so much as commanding them. Mm-hmm. Now, that's not to say it can't happen. It could totally happen. I'm just thinking in my head.
I'm using the example of charming as the spell effect of charm person. Like basically, even if you're a bad ruler, you could charm somebody. I mean, okay. Hey, I'm just saying.
Sure, well, demigods cough. So here's what command spell does. Arcane Divine Occult. You shout a command that's hard to ignore. You command the target to approach you, run away as if at the fleeing condition, release while it's holding, drop prone, or stand in place. You can't delay or take any reactions until it cannot delay or take any reactions until it has obeyed your commands. The effect depends on the target's will save. Heightened at 5th level, you can target up to 10 creatures. How about this? I really like the idea of at level 1, you get like the +2 to intimidate and diplomacy, and you get to cast command once a day for free. But then maybe the greater, you get more bonuses, and you can do command maybe twice a day, whatever. And then the third one would be the bonuses are all +3s. You get to do command, but you get to do command heightened to 5th level, and you can now command 10 creatures.
I dig that, but I also want to add the caveat of maybe instead of the intimidation, all that stuff, maybe it gives their targets a debuff in their roll save. What do you think about that?
Sorry, I'm seeing Mr. Mehara in the chat. Hello, Mr. Mehara. I'm glad to see you back from the gym and that I charm you. That makes me very happy. And Michael does too, for that matter. I'm really happy to know that Michael charms you. We're very charming people. So it gives him a debuff.
Or do you think that's still too much and too specific?
I think it's too much and too specific. Well, I don't know about too specific. I think it's too much. I like the idea because it's a rune that's going to be part of other properties. So I like the idea of getting a bonus of skill checks, and I like the idea of it basically giving you an innate spell. Getting both of those, I think, is pretty good, especially as we up it to different levels. I think that's good. We can make a buff spell or a buff rune, like one that buffs other people. But I think Sovereign's a good... I think it makes sense, and it's simple enough that it can apply with other bonuses to the rune as well.
Yeah, we go with that. Down to go with that.
Okay, so it'll be etched on a melee weapon, or should it be any weapon? Because in theory, you could put this on a bow.
Yeah, so I was gonna say, because I could definitely see this actually more on either actually not a weapon. I would say like on an item actually.
Yeah, but you really
like a circlet. A crown?
Yeah, but you really can't put runes on those things.
Oh, okay.
They become a magical item. Now we could easily make a crown that has this effect. But then what we have to consider is that by making it a rune that can stack with other runes, that it's now just so much more potent by itself.
Because now I'm thinking if by putting it on a weapon, that could be a little OP.
Well, how so?
I don't know. Just have that vibe.
Because I'm thinking about it, because it gives you an innate spell and a bonus to skills. The only thing is that it would probably take away from the overall dice being added to the weapon. So if anything, I feel like if you want to deal damage, it's underpowered. But if you want more crowd control and more roleplay benefits, it's kind of a net gain.
I kind of want to say this would be an armor, actually, rune.
I thought about that. I thought about it being an armor rune.
It would definitely make more sense to be an armor rune.
Yeah, I thought about that, and I
do
definitely
punishment as a weapon rune.
Oh, punishment's definitely a weapon rune. Okay, I'll say this: let's put it on any armor.
Yeah.
And then we are starting to run out of time, so if you want to sit down and make a third rune, we can definitely do that. So on any armor. So this armor grants a +1 to intimidation and diplomacy, which then goes up to a +3 with major, and also gives command, 2 uses of command a day, and then 2 uses of command a day. 10 creatures a bit much. Let's just do it. Command at a better DC, and command 10 creatures at the same DC.
For the Ruinous Punishment, really quick. Well, in game, in the Suikoden universe, it has a cycle of death and destruction. Do we want to go with that theme?
I think so. Yeah, I definitely think so to some degree.
And it also says that when the wielder, it also uses it's fueled by the bearer's own vitality. Like, I kind of feel like this is a curse rune.
Or at least a potentially evil rune. We can easily make it so that you take a certain amount of damage, non-mitigatable, and then you get some benefit in return.
Oh, I just had
Um,
an idea. I just had an idea. Maybe it has a small list of effects, which we'll go into later, probably privately or something. That
mhm.
if you spend such and such health points, you could use that effect. Basically, you're using your health to do spell effects.
I like that. I like that to a degree. I definitely think that the system of taking away HP to have an effect is important, but I think the big trick is figuring out what that effect is going to be.
I'm thinking like we pick like 3 to 5 effects. This could be later on, like off the stream, but 3 to 5 different effects. By spending your health, you activate one of these effects with that weapon for the day. So I would say maybe you
Huh.
start off the day at minus. Oh, maybe maybe my feeling it is you start off the day at a minus 5 to 10 total health. Obviously, this would be a mid to high level item.
So hold on. So you start off with extra HP,
No,
or you
no,
start off with less?
less. You start off with
Okay.
a minus 10, minus 5 to 10 health
Okay. Well, I
per
think
day.
that kind of works with the drained condition. So we could say that wearing, like having this rune
Hmm.
gives you the drained one or drained two condition.
Yeah.
Might be a bit powerful. But then we have to figure out though what the perk of that is, right? So like, oh
Hmm.
wow, you're losing a lot of HP. So what's the net? What's the gain for that?
Maybe one of the effects could be you get a +3 to +5 on hit or damage with that weapon. That's one of the effects.
Okay, let's do this. If we're going to have multiple effects, why don't we make it interesting? Why don't we, instead of saying a flat negative HP loss, we have it be an economy? So for a different amount of HP you sacrifice to the rune, you get a different effect.
Okay.
So you're constantly feeding the
Yeah.
rune of punishment so you can punish people.
Malice posts out its handle has barbs that damage you each time you activate its abilities.
Ooh, now I'm thinking of like Blade, where like the hand just became
Yeah.
eviscerated.
Now I'm thinking Penance from Marvel, who used to be Speedball, but then
Yeah,
became Speedball again.
I was also thinking about that. Yeah. Okay, well, one second while I'm finishing up the Rune of Sovereignty. Let's see here. Well, let's think about this. If we want to have this economy, that means there has to be a different number of actions we can do. So maybe 3 actions, I think, is a good solid list. That way, it doesn't become so much
Yeah.
it's hard for a player. Because also understand this is going to stack with other effects,
Yeah. I mean,
so
maybe
we
if you
have to keep that in mind.
sacrifice, maybe if you sacrifice 10 to 15 health, you get the quickened condition, or for one turn. For
Hmm.
one turn. So basically, you get four. So you get 4 actions total for one turn.
Yeah. Um. Maybe. Let's do this. Instead of giving you more actions, we can maybe make that a higher level thing. But I feel like the whole point about punishing is to punish someone.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, you could do that by being speedy and beating them up. But I feel like it needs to be more of like a
Malice
why don't
posts
yeah
grants 1 die of damage per d4 of damage to you.
could do that. How about this? Let's start small and work our way up to
Mm-hmm.
actual damage. I feel like, because again, punishment is not so much about hurting someone to death.
Yeah.
Punishment is about, well, you know what? I'm not gonna go into that detail. But punishment is about basically it's a punitive action, right?
Uh
It's a
huh.
punitive action. So I feel like we should put some like status elements out there, right? So like the first couple of like the first item could be you give them
Enfeebled.
enfeebled. Let's see here. Um, see, I think enfeebled would work okay. Getting all those penalties. You could then maybe later do uh, restrained or flat-footed. Go straight up stunned if we want to.
Yeah.
Um,
I like enfeebled. Honestly, I like either enfeebled or drained with this rune.
I think maybe drained could be like one of the last ones, but I
Yeah.
think like the first one like enfeebled, and then like
Yeah.
the like you spend a little more, and then you can do like restrained,
Yeah.
restrained and prone. Who knows? And then like the last one could
Okay,
be
you're
like,
getting into a kind of a murky.
hey, it's the rune of punishment. And then the last one could be maybe something like drained, or the last one could be, I don't know, paralyzed,
Mhm.
you know? And
Yeah.
the idea is so you're spending that HP economy to create that special
Hmm.
effect, but you can only confirm that effect after you hit them.
Yeah.
So
Oh,
like
and Malice
after hit,
says
you send
Malice is
yeah.
going asking, it's all non-lethal.
Um
I want to say lethal. I want to go lethal because
yeah.
this is a not it's not a good and happy rune. This is a
Yeah.
this is a mean bad rune.
We could make like the rune of night night and have it just be a bunch of non-lethal. Now technically we already have that with the hand wraps of heavenly peace.
Yeah.
A weapon or at least a magical item that can be runed up that does nothing but non-lethal damage.
Yeah.
Um, so I don't know. I think the non-lethal damage kind of it's a good idea. I think we could probably implement it with a
Something
different
else.
rune.
Yeah.
I like the idea that the rune of punishment is putting on status effects,
Uh-huh.
because when you combine that with like shocking or thundering or vorpal or whatever, now you have a weapon that end game has a lot of potential.
Yeah. But yeah. So like I said, depending on if maybe do you want to put it as is there's only one level of rune of punishment, or do you want to have it like there's a lesser, greater, and major
I think we would do this one of two ways. Either A, we make the rune of punishment have like three
tiers?
economy.
Yeah.
Well, hear me out. Three economy. So you spend different amounts of HP, you get different effects. Or we do it so it has the lesser, greater, and major rune of punishment, and then the rune itself only has one effect, but that effect is a more
Mhm.
powerful effect for
Yeah.
being a major versus
I
a
would
lesser.
definitely say this would if we're going on the economy side, this would definitely be a higher level rune and a rare rune.
I could see that.
Because
So
that's
make it a higher
as an
level rune.
economy, that's actually this is actually a really powerful rune.
Well, let's say this: if we want the economy list, right? So like you spend 5 HP or whatever, you deal enfeebled. Malice is recommending clumsy, enfeebled, drained. Um, so we could do like for 5 HP, you give them clumsy. For 10 HP, you give them enfeebled, and for I don't know, 15 HP, Malice is drained. I'm a little on the fence about drained. I don't feel like that's a punishment so much as it is a death sentence. Um, I would love to.
I kind of want to say this should be on tier list. So
Mhm.
the lesser would be yeah clumsy, and then the greater would be enfeebled, and then the major would be drained, and definitely the major would be a definitely really rare rune.
Yeah, you know what? I like that. I like that, and we can make the economy, the HP economy, embedded in the rune. So like
Yeah,
a lesser rune of punishment would only take, I don't know,
5 health.
5 HP.
Yeah,
The greater would take 10. The major would take 15.
yeah. I kind of want to say even with the fact that how powerful drain could be, I kind of want to say that could even should be actually a 20 to 25 HP. I know it's a big jump, but this is a big status ailment,
Mm-hmm. Let's see.
and which I feel it should reflect that.
I agree with that too. And I want that to be definitely the case. I also want it to make sure it fits thematically, and if we put this on a weapon that's already doing a bunch of other damage, it doesn't become too overpowered, you know? So like
Hmm.
if you have
Ooh, I
a
just thought
bunch of
about
other
something.
things.
What like what punishment? What if? Yeah, it's a weapon you use, but pretty much for it to activate, maybe it's like a dagger or a knife or something where you actually have to stab it in a person and then just leave it in there.
I'm going to
And
say no.
oh, okay.
And no, no, you're wrong. I like that you're passionate about it. I think it's really cool. It's not, here's the thing. We already have it written so that the punishment is confirmed on strike,
Uh
right?
huh.
So then by actually having to force the weapon to stay on them, we've now kind of hamstringed the weapon a bit.
Okay.
Because now it's like now the weapon has to stay on them at all times, or else the ability
Yeah.
isn't there. And now, like as
Because
a
because I
yeah,
was gonna say if the weapon has to stay on that, then yeah, then we could take away the entire it costs HP to use.
oh, I see. So by forcing that, true. I think that's definitely an interesting way to do it. But I kind of like the economy of like I'm going to give a little bit of my HP for this really powerful status effect. Um, because that's kind of what the root of the rune is from, right?
Yeah.
And also I think it creates this interesting gamble.
Uh-huh.
Whereas as long as the weapon is on the target, they are suffering the effect, which could be either something they brush off easily right away, or it could be something that they never ever get rid of. And
Yeah.
instead, I think having a flat duration, say they get like enfeebled, I don't know. Oh, the status effect is equal to the bonus of the weapon. So at end game, it could be it's a +3 weapon, so it's going to be like enfeeble 3, stupefy or clumsy 3, and drain 3.
I know. I'm kind of now more in line with. I do like the idea of it's like a knife that you stab someone in the back and they can't take it out, and they're like just while they have that knife in them,
Mm-hmm.
they have that status effect.
But that's an entire weapon right there.
Yeah.
That's an entire magical item. So we can make that magical item, but
It's
for
like
a
a curse
rune,
item.
though,
It's a combination of a curse item.
sure. But like, I think that's an entire entity. Whereas for a rune, that's going to be combined with things. I feel like that mechanic, it kind of makes it a
I
little
feel that
difficult.
the rune, that's what it fuels
Mm-hmm.
that curse. It's a curse weapon that bestows a curse on the person that's being stabbed.
So yeah, I think. Well, I don't know because then the problem is that the curse is actually meant to affect the player, and if the entire attitude is that well now you have the curse, it defeats the purpose of holding a cursed item. You know what I mean? Now I think what we're working with here is basically a sticky grenade from Halo,
Uh,
and that's dope. But again, that's its own entity. I don't really feel like it's a punishment rune. I think now we're kind of losing focus on that. I think now it's turning into its own magical item. Could be a consumable. Could be like a dagger of whatever, or a sticky knife.
yeah.
But let's get
All
back
right. All right.
on
All right.
the yeah.
Yeah. All right. You know what? With, by putting it that way, yeah, I'll go with the. I'm down to go with the whole. Yeah, it takes health and everything.
Okay. Now for the rune of punishment here, did we wanted to make 3 runes: lesser, major, and lesser, greater, and major, right?
Yeah.
Okay. Excellent. So rune of punishment.
But yeah, we could hash out all the other nitty gritty details because I'm looking at the time and we are definitely over.
Yeah, we are. Well, we were over before we started talking about
Yeah.
the rune of punishment. Okay, cool. So how about this? We will come back to the rune of punishment next week on At the Table as we figure out exactly how this rune is going to work, as well as whatever magical item we're going to be building that time period. Yeah. How does that sound, Michael Path? Is that okay?
I still feel we could take care of this off camera.
You know what? I'd rather do it with the chat
Okay.
because that's what we're here
Because
for.
I
We're here
was
to
gonna
build
say
it with them.
we're already pretty much done on this.
Yeah, well, if we're not really, we haven't really decided the effect. We're on the fence, but that's okay.
Mhm.
We're gonna be here next time to figure it out with you guys. But until then, thank you so much for joining us at the table. We have, in a short amount of time, by the way, we should take really a lot of pride in this, knocked out the rune of rest and the rune of sovereignty, and even given the rune of sovereignty a greater and major levels. So we're doing a lot of really cool stuff, making a lot of cool things, rocking and rolling. And I can see Rufo rocking the rune of sovereignty.
Mm-hmm.
But without further ado, let's say goodbyes. Mr. Michael Powell, tell everyone in the chat who you are and where they can find you on that sweet, sweet internet.
Well, I'm Michael Powell, and you can find me all over the internet on my social media handles, which is basically Mr. Kapow. That's MrKapao. That's Instagram, Twitch, and Twitter. Or follow me on my Facebook page, which is facebook.com/Michael Powell does stuff, because I do a lot of stuff, such as my YouTube channel, which is Fantastic Tales of Adventure. And and on let's see, Thursday, I want to say Thursdays at 6 o'clock, I'm on the Toyzilla Network channel on Toyzilla Live, talking about toy news and nostalgia stuff. And I believe this week on Saturday, I will be interviewing one of the voice actors from My Hero Academia. It's a voice actor who voices a certain character who likes licking a lot of blood. Leia Clark.
Oh,
Yeah.
yeah, her. Yeah. That's awesome. Looking forward to that.
All right. And what about you, PJ?
Well, my name is PJ McGaw. You can find me everywhere on the internet at pj.mcgaw. And when I'm not here with Mr. Michael Powell on Tuesdays at the table, I will be here tomorrow, Wednesday, 8 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, as we get right back into Edge of Legend. You may have heard a little bit about that from Mr. Michael Powell. We met a little boy named Joey. We went into a city. We fought some orcs. It's going to be great. And we'll see what happens tomorrow night. Maybe they go find that certain spoiled paladin they've been tasked to find. Secret, or hashtag CCRIT, is still on hiatus, but don't worry, we'll be coming back in a few weeks with new and great fun and games. And everyone out there watching, I will see you next week here at the same Nat time, same Nat channel at the table. You guys be safe. See you next time.
Bye.